We're just arriving into Stavanger, and as you can see, it is extremely wet. I actually didn't make it for breakfast this morning because I had an awful night's sleep. I just haven't been sleeping well since we came away. I don't know why. The bed's really comfy, there wasn't a lot of movement, but I just can't sleep, so it's really annoying. So I'm going to grab a bite to eat at the buffet before we head off the ship. And we're a little bit late getting here. I think it'll be about 1:30 by the time we get off the boat. But yeah, it's a shame that it's so dull and wet, but we'll make the most of it. So we're at the Horizon buffet and it's really busy. But I might have missed breakfast, but it was worth it for this lunch. So I went to the carvery section of the buffet and got some really delicious roast beef with gorgeous horseradish sauce. So I'm happy. I'm wrapped up in my waterproof because it's really miserable, but we've come off the ship and we've decided to come across to Old Stavanger, which is literally just opposite where the ship docks. The houses here are so beautiful. They were actually built between 1820 and 1860, and obviously people still live here, but you're able to just wander up and down the cobbled streets, so that's what we're going to do now. So there's quite a few activities that you can do in Stavanger. We haven't booked anything because we weren't getting here until 1:30, which is a bit late in the day really. But things that you can do that I'm going to tell you about now quickly. If it's raining like this and you want to do something indoors, there's the Canning Museum. You've also got the Petroleum Museum as well, and those both have really good reviews online. So if it's a rainy day like this, definitely maybe worth having a wee visit to them. There's also some boat trips that you can do that cruise right into the fjords, and you can also go on a rib boat. So you can book all these things through P&O, through their website, but we did find that the prices were quite a bit more expensive. So if you want to save a bit of money, then definitely have a look online and see how much these things would cost you to book yourself. I'm a bit gutted that we're not going to be able to do the boat tour into the fjords because I think that would have been really nice. It goes to, you get a view of Pulpit Rock from the boat, but you can also do a hike to Pulpit Rock as well. But again, it's not going to happen today for us. There's also some nice walks around Stavanger, so if you're into hiking, then I recommend paying a visit to the Tourist Information Centre. They'll be able to give you a map and show you some walking routes to do. So there's some nice little cafes and bars just within a few minutes stroll of the ship. We won't be going because we filled our tummies up before we left with lunch, but if you do want to stop off for a little snack, here's the place. Although price-wise, it's going to be expensive. Norway is not a cheap country, so it might be best to do what we did and stock up with some food before you leave the Iona. It's what you call the wall of shit. This is the only downside to cruising, I would say, the crowds when you get off the ship. If you've watched our previous videos, you'll know that we quite like finding off the beaten track places that don't have a lot of tourists, and this is like the complete opposite. But do you know what? I'm embracing it. I'm just going with the flow and it's all good. But yeah, it's very busy. Iona is apparently named after the island of Iona, and we've been there and it's absolutely beautiful. It's actually one of my favourite Scottish islands ever. We did a video on that island, so if you haven't watched it, check it out if you're interested. Well, we've had a little wander around Stavanger and it's very pretty. It's finally stopped raining, which is nice. I think now we're just going to head back to the ship because she's such a beauty and you just kind of want to spend as much time on her as you can, really. Feels weird calling a ship she, but I know that's the done thing because it's Iona. So we're going to go back now and we might pay a visit to one of the whirlpools on deck because I feel like I need a bit of warming up. We've come to deck 8, which is the promenade deck, and there's a few whirlpools dotted around this deck, and we found this one. Perfect timing because we've got it all to ourselves, and we've got a beautiful view of Stavanger. If I was being super picky, I would say I would prefer if it was a few degrees hotter. It is hot, but I just like it like really hot. But yeah, it's pretty near perfect. If you don't like waiting in queues, then when you're coming back onto the ship after you've been off it, think about when you're going to come back, because it's now an hour before we're due to be back on the ship, and the queues to get back on are really, really long. So I guess it's maybe best to come back on a little bit earlier, or leave it to the very last minute so you're literally the last kind of people on, because otherwise you're probably going to be standing in a pretty long queue, which doesn't really sound appealing. I would much rather be in this whirlpool. We're just about to leave Stavanger, so we've decided to go to the Crow's Nest for a little drink. Hopefully we'll be able to get a seat. And before dinner, we're going to use the My Booking app tonight to book one of the main dining rooms, and we've also got a show booked. I really like the atmosphere in here. It's super chilled. They've got a really nice cocktail list. I've ordered a little gin cocktail. Unfortunately, we were too late to get a table by the window, but we can still see out. And yeah, it's just the perfect place to come for a pre-dinner drink. Someone moved and we managed to get a seat by the window. It's really wet outside, but there's something quite nice about being inside in a lovely place while it's all wet and cold outside. So we're in the Pearl restaurant. We joined the virtual queue, and what we tend to do is just when we're ready to kind of nearly eat, just look and see which restaurant has the least number of people in the queue, and that was the Pearl. So that's where we are tonight. There was about 18 people in the queue, and we probably had to wait about 15 minutes, so not long at all. So this is one of the larger restaurants on the ship. We've ordered our food. We will have that, and then we'll go to the Headliners Theatre for some entertainment. I just had my favourite meal of the trip so far. It was butternut squash and baby sweet corn green curry, and it was so delicious. It was very hot, had a couple of red chilies in it, but it was beautiful. So that was delightful. We're having dessert now. That's coming up. Well, that meal was absolutely beautiful. I had meringue for dessert with poached pears and chocolate. That was definitely my favourite meal so far. We're going to the Headliners Theatre now to see Calon Ray, who was on The Voice. I'll be honest, I've actually never seen him before, so this will be new, and I think it'll be good.
A natural singer. I enjoyed the music. I really enjoyed the music. I think it's very worthwhile going to see all the time.
So it's Calon Ray, not Calon Ray. I got it wrong. But yeah, he was brilliant. Really, really, really enjoyed him. He's got a great vocal range, and he put on a really, really good show. So yeah. We've got into a little routine whereby every evening before we go to bed we come out onto the promenade deck and just have a little walk, get a bit of fresh air before bed, because obviously having our inside cabin is quite dark, not having a window, so it's nice to just get a bit of daylight. And actually it doesn't get dark at the moment at all really, because we are in the summertime. So it's been a really nice day. Tomorrow we are stopping at Alesund, yeah. So we're hoping to do a little bit of a hike there, although the weather again is not looking good, so we shall see. But hopefully we'll be able to go out anyway and have a little walk around and just explore more of the ship. I'm really loving it.
Update on the old patches. Not felt travel sick at all. Bonus, and it's starting to get a wee bit choppier. So I'm eating all my food. In fact, I'm overeating, because that's what you do on these ships. You overeat. But I feel good. I don't feel nauseous, I don't feel sick or anything, so that is a bonus for me. Yeah, I'm enjoying it, it's great.
So it's day 4, it's Tuesday, and we have arrived in Ålesund. It is 8:30 in the morning, and I am pleased to report that last night I slept really well, much better sleep, so I'm happy about that. Looking forward to getting off the ship today and exploring Ålesund. There's a hike that I'd quite like to do. You climb all these lots of steps and there's a really good viewpoint. And maybe another couple of things, we'll see. Quite fancied a boat trip, but I don't know what's on offer here, so I'll have a little look on my phone before we leave the ship. But yeah, it's still looking pretty grey, pretty dull, but hopefully the rain stays off so that we can explore a bit today.
So, update on these patches that I'm wearing for seasickness. There's a few side effects that can occur when you're wearing them. I've managed to get 2. So you can get blurred vision. I wear contacts and glasses anyway, but at the moment, which is weird, when I've got my contacts in, I can't really see that very well when I'm reading. And I've got itchy eyes. That's another side effect. So blurred vision and itchy eyes. But obviously that might not happen to you. It depends on each person. I couldn't sort of read the pamphlet yesterday. I was like, that's weird, I can't read it. And then I looked on the little leaflet you had that came with the patches, and they said this is one of the side effects. But this is my last day wearing the first one. I'm going to put the next one on. It's not pleasant, but it's stopping me feeling seasick. It comes and goes, the blurry thing, but it's fine.
So we've just joined the virtual queue for breakfast in Aqua this morning. There's 20 guests ahead of us, so hopefully we won't have to wait more than half an hour. And we haven't been to Aqua yet. That's one of the smaller main dining rooms. We've been to Pearl Coral, and now hopefully Aqua this morning. Opal isn't open in the morning for breakfast. That's the other smaller one, so it's just Aqua. So yeah, we'll check that out this morning for breakfast. So we got a table by the window so we can see out, which is lovely. And I have got the smashed avocado, poached egg on gluten-free toast. And Ewan has got kippers, and his dad's got scrambled egg. Scrambled egg and smoked haddock. We've come out onto deck to have a little look at Ålesund, and it looks quite pretty. Lots of pretty coloured buildings. So it was actually destroyed by a fire back in the early 1900s on the 23rd of January, which is actually the date I was born. So a lot of it was rebuilt, hence all the colourful houses and the Art Deco. Now, I've made a little bit of a boob, so we fancied doing a boat trip, so I decided to have a little look online to see what there was available. And I found one that left at 2 o'clock, and it was only an hour and a half, so I thought perfect. And it was only like £25 each, even more perfect. So I booked it. And then I thought I'm just going to email them to kind of double check where it leaves from and stuff like that. And then after a little bit of correspondence back and forth, I realised that I've actually only booked a one-way boat ticket, which is obviously no good for us because it drops us off like somewhere that's 2 hours away by car. It was actually a little bit confusing on their website though, because it did say it was a round trip. But then when you look more closely, it is a round trip, but only if you book to come back as well. And I only booked to go one way. The problem with booking to come back is that it's just a little bit too tight on time, because it doesn't come back until 5:30, and that's when we need to be back on board. So annoyingly, I've already paid for it, so I've emailed the lady back to ask her if I can get a refund. So I'm really hoping that she gets back and says yes, otherwise we've literally just wasted £50 for nothing. So we'll see. But I think what we're going to do is get off the ship shortly. The ship. We're going to get off the ship shortly ship shortly, and go for a walk up to the viewpoint that's here, because I think there's a really nice view that you can see and lots of steps to climb. And the good news is that the rain has stopped, so we're hoping that it stays off for a while. It's definitely a bit chillier here though, you can definitely feel the drop in temperature. So we're heading to the Aksla Viewpoint, which is just a short stroll through town to get to the starting point, and I believe it's 418 steps to the top. We've definitely been eating a lot more than we normally would, so we figure that this is a good way to burn a few calories. But don't worry, if you don't feel able to make this walk, there is actually a train that can take you up to the top as well. It's raining, it's windy, it's cold. Meanwhile, the rest of Europe are having a heat wave. We made it to the top. It's extremely windy up here, but the view is really, really beautiful. And actually, if you're physically fit, physically moderately fit, it's not hard at all to get up here. So there's a cafe at the very top with toilets and nice views, but we're gonna head back to the ship now. Well, as you can see, we're drowned rats, but I like Ålesund. It's really pretty. It's got like a bit of a kind of like chocolatey box type vibe to it. And actually, I would go as far as to say that I think I prefer this to Stavanger. I think it's a little bit prettier in my opinion. So yeah, nice place to have a walk around, but unfortunately it's just so miserable and dreich today that it doesn't really inspire you to kind of do too much walking. So yeah, I think we're going to head back to the ship, warm up, and there's nothing else for it. We're just going to have to go to the Horizon buffet and have some lunch, or maybe we'll go to the quays. We'll see what we fancy. We couldn't resist some fish and chips at the quays, and they're so tasty. They do a gluten-free option, which is really good, and the mushy peas are delicious. We couldn't resist a visit to Ripple's ice cream parlour, gelato, and I've gone for coconut and chocolate, and the scoops are actually really big and it tastes delicious. So you do have to pay extra for the gelato, but it's actually really reasonable. I think this came in for 2 scoops at just over £3, so yeah, pretty decent. There's lots of stuff that you can do on this ship during the day and in the evening. There's quizzes, there's craft workshops, there's talks on different subjects. But we've just had our ice cream and we thought, you know what? It's so miserable and horrible out there. Let's just come back to our cosy little cabin and watch a film on the telly. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to get cosy. We'll use the gym later on before dinner, but for now, it's all about the chill time.
So the captain made an announcement a couple of hours ago to say that we're expecting quite high winds and 3.5 metre waves. On the grand scale of things, it's not that big, but for me that's like, ah, my god. Thankfully I've got one more patch because you have to change them every 3 days, so I put the other one on. So I've just tried to ignore the side effects and hope that I don't get seasick.
So this restaurant is one that you do pay a little bit extra for. It's $9.99 per head, and there's a few things on the menu that have a supplement if you wish. But the food looks really nice. It's kind of like Mexican-y type fare. So I'm really excited about what I've ordered for my main course. I've ordered the steak on the salt block, which looks amazing, it smells amazing. There's other people having it too. And got myself a little cocktail as well. Ewan, what are you having?
I am having pork chicharrones, and I'm having also the steak, the surf and turf.
It's nachos I'm going to have without the jalapenos, and I'm going to have the other one, fajitas. And I've got a nice little Malbec here, and the smells that's coming from this kitchen right through to here, it smells wonderful. I think it's going to be really nice. Looking forward to it.
I've got the seafood ceviche for starter and it looks really nice. Let's see. Wow, this is amazing. If you like meat, come here. Well, we did it. We all finished our food, our main courses, our starters. The big question is there room for dessert? If you watch these vlogs regularly, you'll know that the answer is yes.
She's going to have two.
Oh, sure. We've gone for sweetness overload. We've gone for the marshmallow fondue gluten-free. And Iona's also having a gluten-free chocolate dessert. We're going to have to be rolled out of this restaurant at this rate. Okay, so review of the beach house. Starters, amazing. Main, amazing. Dessert, disappointing, to say the least. So I had the fondue. I really don't recommend it, to be honest, for two reasons. One, the chocolate was cold, and it wasn't even chocolate. It was like watered down, like, it just didn't have a lot of taste. It wasn't real it didn't taste like real chocolate. It was watery and it was cold. And the strawberries were disgusting. They were, basically the guy told me they'd been defrosted, which is exactly what I thought. They were all like wobbly and they weren't fresh. The banana cake was fine and the marshmallows were nice, but honestly I wouldn't bother getting that fondue unless they get it better, because it wasn't very nice, which was a shame because the rest of the meal was delicious. And I would recommend going there, but definitely don't get that as a dessert. Disappointing. We've just been for a drink in the Sky Dome, and because it's choppy out in the sea, the swimming pool started, like the water started coming out of the pool, so that was... Shut up! That was quite interesting to see. Oh my god, the
doors closing.
Doors.
Going down.
Yeah, so that was quite mad.
Doors
and
closing.
Now we are going to the theatre. We're going to see a guy called John Clegg, I think he was on Britain's Got Talent. He's an impressionist. So that should be fun. I've got a nice little cocktail here. So yeah, looking forward to that. So we've just been to see John Clegg, and I really enjoyed him. I didn't know anything about him, never seen him before, and I thought he was brilliant. He combined impressions with comedy, and it was a really good hour. Really enjoyed that. We're off to bed now. The ship is moving a little bit more tonight, definitely the most we've ever felt it. So tomorrow morning we are arriving in the port of Ålesund, and we're going to attempt to set our alarms for like 4 in the morning, because we're going to be sailing through the fjords, and I've heard that it's really nice to get up early and watch it, although because the weather's not great I'm not sure how good it'll be. But we're going to set the alarm anyway, get up, and we might not be able to go on the deck. We'll see, they might have closed it because of the choppiness, but we'll see what there is to see. So that's the plan for the morning, so we better get to sleep now.